everyone, how are you doing today? I'm back with another video, and in today's video we have a Lenovo Thinkpad P52 model. And in this video I'm gonna go over how you can open it up, how you can clean up the inside of the laptop, repaste, clean up the fan, the motherboard, everything. And I'm gonna show you guys step by step and how to take it apart and how you can put it back together. And you can do this at home if you want, but you need to free up at least a little bit of your time. So you take your time doing it, don't rush, don't panic. If you have any question or request, feel free to leave them in a video comment. I always try to answer them as soon as I can, so I can help you, assist you and help you guys to do your own. Alright, I'm gonna keep this video as short as possible, so I'm gonna get into it. First thing first, you wanna power up the laptop, and then next you wanna remove the battery. To remove the battery is on the bottom, so you want to pull this trigger really hard all the way towards the unlock position and lift up the battery. Put the battery to one side. Now I'm going to go over the tools that I'll be using for this service, and I'll leave the link for all these tools in the video description. I suggest you guys to grab the best screwdriver out there, which is an UFIXTEK screwdriver set, because they have one of the best bits out there. These are S2 class steel bit. That means they will last you many openings. You're going to be using a Phillips number 0 and Phillips 00 at the moment. If you get the Pro set, they will include you an opening tool, tweezers, and a few other stuff. If you don't want to get the Pro set, get the simple set. And for the opening tool, I'll be using a guitar pick. And metallic guitar picks are really suitable to opening cases and covers. You need a screw, you need a tweezers, flat or curved tweezers, that will be fine. You need one sheet of the workshop towel, so grab one sheet or two sheets of workshop towel. You will need an alcohol, isopropyl or isopropyl alcohol, 90% plus, and you need your thermopaste. If you want to use a good thermopaste, or depending how much you want to go, how far you want to go. A good thermopaste is Arctic MX4 or MX5. Those are really good. But if you want to go over the board a little bit, go ahead, grab yourself the Thermo Grizzly Cryonaut. These are one of the best brands out there. Also, you need a toothbrush. A used or new toothbrush, that will be good. Alright, with all this on hand, let's get it started. Let's go ahead and remove the keyboard first. To remove the keyboard, we're going to open up the screen, and we need to remove this and this clicks, the left and right click right here. To remove that, you want to grab the opening tool, put it right underneath, and just push it down, and it will come up. You can grab it, comes up right there, and you just want to pull it forward. Same thing here, pull it, take it out, remove these two. Now what you need to do to grab the 00 screw Phillips, and you want to loose up these screws right underneath. Just they have a seal lock on them, so you just want to loosen them up. Once they are loosened up, you just want to push this keyboard by your finger towards the screen gently, firmly, and you try to rotate the screws at the same time. And with a little bit of force, not too much force, I'm going to put the guitar pick there to help it out. I'm just pulling it towards myself. That one is already moving back. Let's do this side. There we go. So you want to push this keyboard that way by loosening up these ones. Now you want to lift up the keyboard, bring it up a little bit. Don't yank it. There's a flex cables. Bring it towards yourself. Flip it over. You're going to remove these two flex cables. To remove the flex cable, simply you have to put your fingernails right or flat screwdriver right underneath here at the back, and you want to lift it up 90 degrees and pull back the flex cable. Put it right there. Lift it up 90 degrees, 90 degree, and pull it back. That's your keyboard. That's how you remove the keyboard. Now we need to remove the flex cables for the trackpad and for this Touch ID. So lift it up, pull it out, and after that just put the lock back in. Even these ones, always put them back. lift up, remove, put it back together. We're gonna loosen up the speaker cable, which is right here. Just pull up the jack. Here. This is the jack that we pull up. Untangle it if you want to for now. The Wi-Fi antenna is right here, so we're gonna untangle the Wi-Fi antenna. We're just gonna disconnect it. There are two of them. And untangle them from there. There's a little gaffer's tape right here. You want to break this gaffer's tape and loose them up. There's a flex cable for the LCD that runs through here. Right here. You want to lift up this blue cover upward towards the ceiling. And there we have it. Pull out the cables right there. This Wi-Fi cable goes, half of it goes from the other side, half of it goes from here. You just untangle it. Right there. There we have it. Now we're gonna remove this flex cable right here. First I'm gonna untangle this one. I'm guessing this is for power on switch right here. So I'm just gonna pull it up. We're gonna go ahead and disconnect the jack for the fan, left and right side. So pull up the jack. I don't like pulling up on the cable. Always try to pull the hinges upward from the side of the jack up, so you don't want to stress the cables. Same thing on this side. There we go. Once you have those disconnected, everything is disconnected on this side. We're gonna remove few screws. We're gonna remove this screw with a Phillips number 0. Any screw that touches the board, the palm rest. So I'm gonna use a magnet to pull the screws out. Try to have a screw organizer. We don't need to remove the cover for the RAMs, but I'm gonna do it just for this video. Just remove the cover for the RAM in case. Remove the screw right beside it. Remove the screw right over here. Alright, so there's 3 screws right there. And make sure there's no screw right here. I don't see any screw right there. No more screws. So we are done up here. Now we're gonna go to the other side of the laptop. And we're gonna get back here quickly. So we're gonna close it down, flip it upside down. We're gonna remove the service cover. The screws on the service cover, they have a C-lock. They will not come out entirely, so you just have to loosen them up. Go ahead and loosen up all the screws on the service cover, which is this L shape or rare shape. Again, if you guys like my video, if my videos are helping you guys out, you can support the channel by clicking that like and subscribe. I'll greatly appreciate it. It will be a huge support for me to make more videos, take requests, answer your questions in the comment area. I appreciate it. Alright, once we remove it, we're just gonna lift it up from here. There's a little finger press. Just lift it up and bring it towards yourself so you can release this back end. These tiny hinges right here there. So there's your bottom cover, service cover. You can go ahead and clean it up outside. Now we're gonna remove the mechanical hard drive by pulling this connector upward towards the ceiling. Just grab this connect thing and pull it up. Grab this plastic right here and pull it towards this side and lift it up about 10 degrees and pull it out. Don't pull it up upward. You're gonna break the hard drive. Pull it a little bit and slide it out. So there's your hard drive. Let's put this one right there. You don't need to remove your SSDs and you don't need to remove any of your RAMs in here. Now we're gonna remove all the screws that we see on the bottom, on the top, all this, and there's a few hidden screws. So I'm gonna start from one corner, remove this screw. The screws right there. There's a screw right by the SSD drives. I'm gonna rotate this so I can see it. There's a few screws right here, there, and here, and here. Go ahead and remove the chrome screws right there. These are short ones. And you need to remove the 3 screws in the front row of the laptop. Alright, and there's 2 hidden screws which are at the back end of the laptop, here and here on this side and on this side. There's a little cover. You have to remove this adhesive plastic right here. So lift it up. There are actually 2 screws right there. 2 screws on each side, so go ahead and remove this cover and remove the 4 screws in the corner. Now that we remove all those, double check, make sure you haven't missed any screws. Right. Now we're gonna go backward. We're gonna open up the screen, and we should be able to lift up this palm rest. So we're gonna untangle the palm rest this way upward. And we're gonna bring it to front, and we're just gonna lift it up. And you're gonna close up a little bit so I don't have enough space here. You're gonna put the guitar pick between the top and the bottom cover right here, and we're gonna just rotate, and we're gonna hit a few clicks so that the clips are getting loose. You want to do that all the way in the front end and towards the side. Just want to lift it up gently. Bring it up. It has a little clips you need to loosen up. But before you do that, gently pull up slowly the flex cable for the trackpad. You don't want to break it. Gently. Has a little adhesive. You want to loosen up that adhesive. So go ahead and remove the palm rest right here. Bring it up, bring it up. Now we can pull it towards yourself so you can scoop this back end. So there's your trackpad, the Touch ID, and the power on button right over here. Picture. Alright, we're gonna put this to one side. Now down here, we're gonna untangle everything and we're gonna remove the screen. So we're gonna move this one to one side. So there's a screen cable here and there's a screen cable here, so I'm guessing this is 4K or something, I don't know, but I'm gonna remove this other one. I doubt it. This is Touch ID, touch screen. So we're gonna untangle the cables right there, untangle the cables right on this side. We're gonna remove the single screw on this end and the single screw on this end. I'm gonna keep these two on this side because this works for the screens. We're gonna lift up. There's one more screw right in here. We need to remove these 2 screws too for the hinges. Yep. There's so much screws in here. Alright, once we remove these ones, the screen should come out pretty easy. So we're gonna move it around and let's see if we can pull up the screen upward. And there we have it. So just bring them up and put the screen to one side. Alright, now that we have the screen on one side and everything is removed, now we need to remove this top plate. So we're just gonna gently pull it up. There's 2 screws in the front end. We need to remove these 1, 2, 3 screws. So go ahead and remove these 3 screws on the front. There we have it. Now go ahead and lift up the metal chassis with the speakers on top. Alright, down here we got the whole heatsink, the CPU and the GPU right over here. Alright, now that we need to remove the heatsink, we already disconnected the fans. So we're gonna remove the 4 screws on the CPU and 4 screws on the GPU. They do have a C-lock on each one of them, so they will not actually come out entirely. So go ahead and loosen them up. They have a little spring, they push them up. So I'm just loosening up all the screws. And there we have it. Now we're gonna lift up the heatsink and put it out to one side. And there we have it. There's your CPU and there's your GPU. So what we need to do first, let's go ahead and clean up in here. You want to take it outside with a toothbrush and clean up and blow some dry air in here, compressed air, and clean up everything here. Same thing with the fans. You want to go ahead and take it outside, use a toothbrush, clean, blow the air from here inside and from both sides and clean it up nicely. Do not remove the thermal pads, leave the thermal pads on. If you want to remove the thermal pads, I'll tell you this is 0.5. These are 0.5 millimeter thermal pads, and this is 0.2 millimeter thermal pads. So we got the 0.2 millimeter thermal pad, which goes right over this one here. If it goes this way, so the coil in here, it uses a 0.2 millimeter thermal pads. The coils in here, they use a 0.2 millimeter thermal pads. The VRAMs, they use a 0.5 millimeters thermal pads. But for this video, I'm not going to change it because you're not going to overclock the VRAMs. So that's absolutely not necessary. So I'm going to take it outside and clean it up, and I'll be back. We're going to be cleaning up with a toothbrush and just simple stuff. All right, now that we clean up the mesh, dust mesh, and the fans and everything with the toothbrush and compressed air, we're going to clean up the thermal paste. So we're going to grab a little bit of the workshop towel. We're going to soak it in an alcohol, and we're going to stuff it first with the motherboard. So we're going to clean up the excess first. So grab the excess of the thermal paste on the GPU and on the CPU. Now you want to clean it up nicely. You don't need to clean around the CPU or GPU. As long as you clean the die, you're more than fine. But the crystal die is what touches the heatsink. You don't have to worry about around the GPU or CPU. Now we're going to do the same thing on the heat plate right here, heatsink. Now with these two cleaned, you're going to apply our thermal paste. So you want to open up your thermal paste. And this is very small. You want to put a one tiny line on the CPU die, and one tiny drop on the GPU die. One drop goes a long way, so don't worry, you don't have to put a lot. This is not conductive, so don't worry about it. Once you have the thermal paste in there, all you need to do is to grab the heatsink. Once you put down the heatsink, you don't want to lift it up again. Otherwise, you have to repaste and redo the whole thing. So bring it down, put it straight on top, and there's a little numbers 1, and the 2 is right here, 3. Go with the numbers. So that way the thermal paste spreads evenly across the CPU and GPU. So follow the numbers and tighten up the screws. So do a second pass quickly, make sure after you haven't missed any. You should be fine. Once you did that, now go ahead and put the fan cables right in there. Put the fan cables on both sides. Now you want to grab the top side. You can take it outside and clean it up nicely. Blow some air through this one and set it down right on top here. And go ahead and put the 3 screws in the front row where you removed. Once for all, let's go ahead and put the shield for the RAMs right there. Slide it right in there. Put a tiny screw. Okay, with all those done, now we're gonna put the screen and put the screws for the screen. So grab the screen, bring it up, put it down, run the cables on the side, along the side right there. Remember there were 2 long screws That goes right there. And one right in there. And the short screws goes right on to hold the cover for the hinges. The hinge covers so it doesn't look ugly. Now we're gonna run the cables. First run the cable for the speaker. Just push it down the jack right in. The jacks only goes one way in, so that you can make a mistake. In here, first run the cable for the Wi-Fi, and then the other screen cable, and then next is a screen cable, and then Wi-Fi. The screen cable. Bring the screen cable straight down and push it towards the jack evenly. You have to get the feeling that it goes in nicely. So it's kind of easy to, we just have to push it right in there. And bring the cable for the Wi-Fi. Just run the cable through here. Through the cracks right there. There, and bring it all the way here. And right here, you're gonna stop and we're gonna continue on this side. First goes down the Wi-Fi cable and then the screen. And then Wi-Fi, and the screen right behind it. And now we're gonna switch, put the screen on the bottom, right under this loop right there. Bring it down and push it toward the jack. Make sure it makes a nice connection right there. And bring the rest of the Wi-Fi cables. The orange one stays in this side. The white one goes on the other side. And goes right on the jack. So push the white one and grab the black cable right here. Bring it down. Run it all the way to the other side. Doesn't matter if it goes on one or two, they're both the same cables. So it doesn't make any difference. You go to one or two, that makes no difference at all. And leave this other one in here. You can run it through here. Tape it down. These are called gaffer's tape, but you don't need it. Leave it like that. Now what we need to do, grab the palm rest and put it under the screen first. Those screens, just slide it right there and bring it on top, and then you just want to push it down and squeeze both sides together. You want to squeeze them nicely and push them down nicely. And make sure you hear those clicks on the back side. There's a whole bunch of clicking going on in here. If you see any gap, you just want to push it down. Now we're going to put this side down. We're going to open up the lock. You slide the flex cable right underneath. All the way in. And we're going to lock it down. Same thing for here. We're going to slide it right under. It has to go sliding. This one is not 45 degrees. This has to be slide right underneath. And then lock it down. Next, down here would be to grab the keyboard. Put the keyboard in like this, in this position. Open up the lock for both of the flex cables. This one has a little earlobe, so it goes in 45 degrees. So grab it, put it down all the way inside the jack 45 degrees and lock it straight over. This one can go straight in. So it makes no difference on this one. It goes straight in 45 degrees, whatever, and lock it down. Flip over the keyboard, bring it down. First you want to put this side under the palm rest, slide it right under the palm rest. Make sure the key is hitting the palm rest and put it down and then bring it towards yourself. Make sure it's nice and flush right there. All the way in, and switch to 000 Phillips and screw down the screws under the keys right there, and grab the two keys, put the back end of the keys right there first and then bring it down. Make sure you always put the back side down first and then push down, and there you have it nicely in place. Now we are finished on top here. We're gonna flip it on the bottom, and we're gonna put the screws on the bottom. Remember, the chrome screws went under the battery and under the hard drive, so let's go ahead and put those ones. Those are the easy ones. Make sure you switch to Phillips number 0, that's easier. Grab the 3 screws. Grab the long screws. They go right on the side. Now we need to put the 4 screws on the hinges on this side and this side. These are medium screws. Go ahead and put this medium screws right in here. I put the 2 powers for these ones. Right, I'm gonna put the small screws. And the 3 screws that we left in here are gonna go in the front end of the laptop. And the long screws, I forgot to put them. They're under the keyboard. So hopefully, I'm gonna open up the keyboard quickly. I'm gonna show you guys where you're supposed to put these 3 screws under the keyboard. Alright, next we're gonna grab the motherboard, the hard drive. We're gonna slide it right under this gap. We're gonna bring it down and we're gonna lock it in place. And we're gonna put the connector right on top of the jack and push it down. And we're gonna grab the bottom cover. We're gonna put down this side down first and put it right there. And we're gonna lock down the screws. There we have it. Now let's go ahead and remove the keyboard and put the 3 screws quickly. So go ahead and put the 3 screws on the bottom cover right here. One goes right on top here. One goes right over here. And one right by the fan on this side. And this is how you do your service for your Lenovo Thinkpad Model 52. If you guys have any question or request, feel free to leave them in a video comment. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. I'm gonna power on the laptop so you guys can see if it's working. So that should be no problem. So let's put these keys on. And we put the battery in. To put the battery in, really simply just plug it in there. Put the back end of the battery where the hinges are in first, and then smack it right in there. And let's go ahead and power it on. I don't know if I plugged in the power cable, so I'm just gonna quickly go over. I think I missed the power cable because I'm trying to keep the video short. Actually, it's going the other way around, so it's getting longer. I think I didn't plug in the power cable. So let's make sure that we have plugged in the power cable. I have missed the power cable, so make sure you connect the power cable in. There we have it. Now I'm going to slide it right underneath and bring it forward and lock it down. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to power it on. Okay, there's no battery, so I'm going to get the charger. Alright, now that I left the battery charging for a little bit, now I'm going to power on and it should turn on fine. So there's a light and there we have the Lenovo logo. We're going to get right away inside the operating system that you have, and that's it. Now you can do a temperature test, everything else, and make sure that everything is running nice and smooth. And again, remember guys, if you have any question or you need help, feel free to leave them in a video comment. I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. As always, I'll really appreciate if you guys can support the channel by clicking that like and subscribing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching.